Hello and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Lexi Jong and I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today, we're going to be talking about a new eyeshadow quad from Tom Ford. So these are limited edition. This is the Tom Ford Extreme Badass eyeshadow quads. There are two of them that have been released. There's Lava Luster, which came out, I want to say back in either late November, early December. I passed on that one because the colors just weren't my color story. But that one is available at Beautylish and Tom Ford has it in stock as well. Now, the other shade that was supposed to originally release at the same time, it had been delayed. My order got back ordered and so forth. And that is shade X1 Metallust. And that's what I have here today. So the palette comes in a white velour case instead, or white suede fabric. And you've got this beautiful like ombre print on here. So it goes white up to like a metal. And then we've got a mirror here. This is going to be your traditional Tom Ford interior, essentially. And you have two little applicators. You have a dual-ended foam tip applicator and one that has a foam tip on one side and an angled brush on the other. And of course it comes with a little plastic tray so you can keep the residue out and so forth. Now, I have already used this and I will show you a couple of looks with this. And I have to say, I have already tried the lipsticks from this collection. There are 3 lip shades that released at the same time as the Lava Luster quad. And I have a video where I used the one that I had purchased. And I had actually had another one on order, but I really dislike them personally. So I canceled that. And I will leave the video to the one that I purchased, which I think is called like Blush New or something. I'll leave that down below in the description box. So if you're interested in checking that out and seeing what the formula is like on that, definitely check that out before purchasing. So this particular quad, Metallust, is a collection of neutrals. And the formula here is different from the traditional Tom Ford palettes. It's not the same as the wet dry. It's not the same as a traditional flat pan, like matte, or, you know, I'm not sure what that formula is actually called, but that other formula. And it's also not the same as the new quads like rose quartz. So it's actually probably more similar to this new formula than it is to the other 2 traditional formulas. So let's start off with some swatches. And I have to say, you can tell a little bit about the texture by the way the residue accumulates on the side of the pants. We'll talk about that. But this palette here is neutrals. You've got 2 mattes and 2 sparkle shades. You can see when you're looking at these mattes, just the way they go on, that these are a creamy matte texture. They are not as dry as the traditional formula. They're not quite as creamy as something like the rose quartz. Let me just go ahead and show you this. So this is more of like a buttery, creamy texture to it. And the Metallust is a little different, but they're similar. They're the closest that I could compare them to. So this is rose quartz here versus Metallust. You can see they do have some similarities in the color story, but this just feels so nice. I mean, they both do. I really love both of these quads. But the shimmers here, you can see that first we have this kind of more rose gold shade, and this is going to be a more opaque. It's more of a satin sparkle shade, okay? Whereas this other one that actually looks deeper here, it's a little bit cooler in tone and a little bit deeper. It's a little bit more translucent. There's not as much of a base color there. So just something to note. And then these 2 mattes, these, again, they're like a creamy matte. So you can feel that there is some moisture in the product. We have kind of this soft brown here, kind of like a fawn brown, and more of a cocoa or an espresso. It's like a lighter espresso. You can see that when you blend this out, there is a little bit of a reddish hue in there, making it a little bit cooler in tone, but it's really going to be a deep, rich brown. And this one, in return, it's got a little bit of a golden tone to it, but it's not overly warm. So I think the quad itself, I mean, this is just a fantastic neutral quad, and the formulas are really, really pleasant to work with. We'll talk more about the rose quartz in a separate video, so definitely be sure to tune into that. Another great new formula from Tom Ford. Now, I just wanted to note a couple things about the product itself. So these are made in Italy, and the actual weight of this product is 9.5 grams, which is heavier than the other Tom Ford shadows. So this new formula, the Rose Quartz formula, these are 9 grams. And the typical wet dry formulas, this is the honeymoon palette here, these are 6 grams. Now, I don't think there's actually any more product in this palette, but that weight, I would attribute that more so to the formula change and the fact that there is, like, it's a creamy formula, and having that moisture in there is going to add a little bit of weight to it. So if there's actually any physical more product, it's hard to say, but I did want to note the difference there. So I think it's just absolutely stunning. Let's go ahead and take a look at the demos that I have for this quad, and then we're going to come back and we'll look at some more comparisons. We'll talk a little bit more about the formula as well. All right, so first off, I want to apply these as duos. So I'm going to do these two on one eye, these two on another eye, just to kind of see how it goes. So I'm going to use the Rephr 32 brush. This is a great brush because I like it for, you know, actually under eye concealer as well. Or it works really nicely to just kind of go in the outer corner here. You can see you get that nice like angular shape. So I'm just going to spread this out a little bit, and I'm just kind of brushing this in the crease. This is not really a crease brush. So if I weren't just playing with this, I would actually grab a crease brush. And then we're going to go into the metallic next to it. Let's see how this goes on with the brush. All right, so it's a little bit sheer with the brush. I mean, just touching the brush to the pan, you can feel how creamy this is. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more powder of the matte shade right here. Intensify that a little bit. And I'm going to use my finger to apply some of the metallic over that. Really pretty. I have to say, actually, it's probably one finger application is probably comparable to going over it twice with the brush. All right, let's move on to the deeper one. I always have to be careful with this eye because it's a little bit more hooded, so I get transfer up where I don't want it very, very easily. Okay, and let's try the metallic here. So here, let's just do one layer with the brush versus one layer with the finger so you can see the pigmentation difference. All right, I'm just going to do the whole thing with the finger now. So here are the two eyes as duos. And here they are from a distance. I have to say, I really like them this way. Just something easy, simple to use, but it still has a very elevated, sophisticated look with some shimmer. It's like the sophisticated way to do sparkle. So I'm gonna wash this off and let's play some more. All right, I'm taking the Rephr 16 into the light brown here. And you can see how easily the powder comes off. I actually just dabbed this on my cloth to release some of the excess pigment. And this is a really fluffy crease brush. So using the lighter shade here for this, because if I were using the darker one, I feel like I would just make a mess. All right, so that's a really nice kind of like blown out look there in the crease. I'm gonna just add a little bit more of this powder, and you can see that it gets some residue on the sides, and you can tell from that, I'm not sure how much you can tell, it's not like regular powder. This is like a creamier powder. So I'm just gonna lightly dust the eye with this. We'll be covering this with the shimmer shades. So I just want like a little bit of a base there. Next, I'm taking the Hakuhodo J5529 into the dark brown here. And I'm just kind of twirling this in here. And I'm going to add a little bit here to the outer corner. And I'm going to work this into the center of the crease as well. So just right in the socket. All right, going back with the Rephr 16, and before I do anything, you can see it has kind of skipped in some spots. That's because this matte is kind of like a creamier matte. It's not the traditional powder type. So since it's a little creamier, wherever I put it first, it kind of adheres more strongly there. So if you wanted to use just the matte shades, I would recommend more of a tapping motion. Because I'm using more of a sweeping motion, I have a little skipping there. But that's due to my application. Now, I don't mind because I'm covering it with the shimmer, but if you were just to use the mattes, I would definitely use more of a patting technique. All right, we're gonna use both shimmers. So inner portion, outer portion. I'm using the Sonia G soft shader, and you can see that this shade here, just gonna dab off any excess. This shade is more like a rose gold kind of shade. Really, really beautiful. Look how soft and pretty that is. And this brush works really nicely to put it on with. Works more, it deposits it more opaquely than this Rephr one that I was using before, because this is, I mean, that's essentially what these are designed for. You've got more of a firmly pressed soft shader style brush, which is really good for like metallic and cream products. So let's move into this bottom metallic here and start that out here. Just gonna get a little bit more here. And I overlapped the like rose gold shade a little bit, but I'm gonna add a little bit more rose gold right on top of that. So that way right in the center, I have the two shades melded together. So this is it. So I just wanted to show you something as I'm tapping in here. You see how it gets like a little bit of powder? Like it looks like, it's kind of like when like creamy products kind of ball up a little bit, you know, it's not powdery and falling off, but it's like crumbling a little bit. Look, I can just kind of pat that back down and it becomes like that flat creamy product again. So that kind of shows you how much moisture is actually in that product. It's really nice. I mean, this texture is really nice. All right, for the lower lash line, I'm going to use the shimmer shades. I'm going back to the Hakuhodo. Just going to twirl the tip in the deeper one just a little bit here and just lightly put that on. So this is not going to add a ton of color, just actually a little bit of sparkle. And I know a lot of people don't like sparkle under the eye. I personally am kind of in the mood for it today. Okay, and just going to get a little bit of the rose gold on here and plop that on the inner corner. I'm going to finish this off with a cocoa eyeliner, finish my makeup. I'll see you in a second. And this is the final look from a distance. I have to say, I really like it. So on my skin, I have the Cle de Peau Radiant Matte Foundation in I-10. I have the Chanel Peche Cosmique from the La Comète blushes as a base, topped with the new Suku blush in 04, and the Peche Cosmique also as a highlighter right above that. And on my lips is Tom Ford Bad Lieutenant lipstick. And I'm really enjoying this. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Let's start off with a few comparisons. This is the new Suku 08 quad. I just want to take a look at this lighter shade here. You can see that the finish is definitely going to be different. I'm going to stick this right up here at the top. But I wanted to show you the comparison of the color. You can see the Suku is actually going to be a little bit cooler, but it did kind of remind me of one of those. And then I also wanted to take a look at a couple Surratt shades. This is Ombre, which is one of my, well, it is my favorite matte. It might be my favorite shade from Surratt, but you can see it's going to be cooler in tone than the lightest shade here, but they still do have a bit of a similarity there. So Ombre is a little bit cooler, but they're pretty close. And then this one here is Truffe, Truffe. And we're going to put that one right down here with that. And again, this one's going to be a little bit lighter, but I do think they have a similar tone there. And Surratt doesn't really have sparkly shades so much. This is really the only one. This one's called Star with 2 R's. And we're going to put that one kind of right here. So you can see it's a sparkly shade, but it's really more of a champagne. But with those 3 shades, you can kind of get something a little bit similar, but I feel like these sparkle shades here really make a huge difference in how it looks on the eyes. And one of the other things I'd like to say about that is just that the shimmer shades, they don't really have that much fallout or anything. Even when I was using a swiping motion to put it underneath the eyes, I was not getting sparkle fallout or anything. I went over my eyeliner and kind of just smudged it. And even then, I wasn't getting fallout from the shimmer shades. And I think that's really pretty good. So I do think the glitter in this adheres a little bit better than some other products. Now I want to take a look at this. This is one of the, the flat matte shades. This is Mink Mirage. This one's actually 9 grams as well. These are supposed to be like, I don't know. I thought these were going to be like a creamier matte, and they feel, nice to the touch, but they don't really seem all that consistent. I don't love them, but I did want to show you how they compare because these 2 shades here are similar to the 2 shades here. Although I would say that the matte formula in the Metallust is a little bit creamier. These are slightly more powdery, and you can kind of tell when you're looking at the Metallust how the residue is on the side. If it were powdery, you'd see like this separated a little bit more. The fact that it's clumping a little bit is showing you the moisture level in there. So just something to note. It's definitely a powder product. It's not, it's not a cream, but it does have a little bit more moisture in it than other powder products. And this one here is New Dip from the Wet Dry formula. And let's just take a look at this. This is going to be cooler in tone, but since this is a palette like most people have, I felt it was a good one to compare. So you can see color-wise, they're not the same. And then look at how these satin shimmers are compared to these. These are going to be more intense, more sparkly, more of a true metallic compared to the frostier shades in New Dip. Then we also have First Frost. I'm just going to look at this deepest shade here. We're going to compare that to the matte one right here. You can see that's still going to be cooler in tone. And again, that's a satin instead of a matte. And then this here's the Viseart Étendue palette in Cashmere. We're going to take a look at these 2 browns here. And again, I really think the shimmer shades are a bit different than the others. Let's put them here. Oh, that's going to be cooler, and that's going to be cooler. So these are both going to be cooler in tone. You can see this is a lot deeper. True espresso. Now another new recent quad is the Chanel Mediterranean. It's really, I'm just going to use this for sake of comparison, just these 2 shades here, but these are also going to be much lighter. And let's see, where can we fit these? We'll put them up top. So you got this one here. You can see it doesn't quite go with any of the Metallust shades. And then this is the lighter one, which is going to be much more golden. And then I want to take a look at Dior Soft Cashmere. So we're going to look at these two shades here and see how these go. You can see that this lighter shade is going to be cooler. Let's squeeze that in. And here's the lighter one. Oh, very different. And then let's also take a look at this shimmer shade here. And well, let's just do all except the white. Might as well, right? All right, let's squeeze them in. Yeah, they're not gonna go. The Soft Cashmere palette is a little bit cooler in tone. It has a little bit more gray in the shades in general than the Tom Ford. This here is Dior in Poncho. Let's take a look at this brown here. And let's put it right here. Cooler in tone. And these other ones aren't going to quite go either, I don't think. But let's just check this one with the lighter shade at the top. I'll put that right here. Definitely deeper. Now, in terms of the metallics, this Byredo, like creamy metallic shade, this is creamier, but this is the most similar to me. This is Byredo Corporate Colors. You can see that this is going to be kind of similar to like a mix of the two. It's closer to the rose gold, but it's not so rosy. It's more taupe. All right, so that's going to be it for my comparisons today. We've got the Metallust right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have to say my thoughts on this palette, I'm really excited for this palette. And this is probably my most anticipated Tom Ford eyeshadow palette in quite a while. The metallic denim was the last one that I was so excited for. And that one didn't quite live up to my expectations. Whereas this one, I would have to say, actually did surpass my expectations. I'm very, very happy with this. I like this new formula. I like how creamy these are. The mattes I think are nice and creamy to work with as well. But I'm not going to use the palette for the mattes. If you're getting it for the mattes, go with something else. I don't think they are the best mattes, but they're nice mattes. And I think because they're a little bit creamier, they do help the more metallic shades adhere and stay in place. So I like having them as a base. And I think the increased moisture content in these metallic shades really helps things stay in put as well. And I have to say that these last on my eyes all day. So I think they perform really well. They are gorgeous to look at. I'm so happy to have like a classic neutral palette. To me, these are sophisticated neutrals with a kick because of this sparkle. You know, these shimmers, they are, you know, it's not out of this world craziness. They're in neutral colors. So they really just give a nice edge to a more sophisticated look. And I think they are stunning. I really like the new formula. So I actually hope that they end up creating this more in a permanent line instead of the limited edition. I think it's gorgeous in this packaging, but this, it's definitely one of my favorite Tom Ford palettes like ever right now. So I'm really, really enamored with this. Very, very happy to have it. And I'm glad I, waited for this. So super happy to have this. And if you haven't been able to pick it up yet, it is limited edition, but it will restock. So it sold out pretty quickly on Beautylish. It has not actually been available for purchase on the Tom Ford website. The photo actually was taken down right now. As of this filming, the photo has been removed, but it'll be coming up very soon. And, there will be more stock available for this. So if you haven't gotten it yet, Tom Ford isn't so bad about the limited edition items as some other brands. There are usually multiple restocks for it. So you should be able to see this pop up over the next few months or so and still be able to pick it up. As a matter of fact, some of their limited edition products, are still available like a year later. I don't expect this one to be around that long, but I do think that you'll have a few months to pick this up. So definitely check for those restocks. And I really happy with this. So if you have any additional comparison requests, please let me know and I'd be happy to put them in an update video. And I will see you very soon. So have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.